Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes. It is the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, and time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal. Loving can mend your soul. And it's the only thing that I know. I swear it will get easier. Remember that with every piece of you. And it's the only thing we take with us when we die. We keep this love in its photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts were never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. And if you hurt me, that's okay, baby. Only words bleed inside these pages. You just hold me. I won't ever let you go. Wait for me to come home. Wait for me to come home. Wait for me to come home. Wait for me to come home.
If you think water is in short supply in California, you should see what's happening in China. Next month, the communist government will turn on the taps at the world's biggest water diversion project. Seth Doan went to the source of the problem.
This is what's left of the Yangding River, which once fed Beijing. It ran dry along with 27,000 other rivers in China that have disappeared due to industrialization, dams, and drought. Environmentalist Ma Jun says northern China is facing a water crisis.
Some of the cities in a large area in the North China Plain are suffering from severe water shortage, and some of the cities may literally run out of water.
To try to solve the problem, China's government is planning to spend nearly $80 billion to build around 2,700 miles of waterways, almost enough to stretch from New York to Los Angeles. 4/5 of China's fresh water lies in its south, and the idea behind this project is to move some of that water to the parched and populous north by connecting existing bodies of water. And that's meant relocating around 350,000 people to settlements like this one.
Did you want to come to this place?
It does not matter whether you're willing to move or not, Zhang Xiaofang told us. The government told us we had to move here. If we didn't, our home would be underwater. She used to sell jade. Now she scrapes by selling whatever she can from this small shop in her relocation village, dubbed Harmony by the local government.
Oh, so you live just right above the shop here.
She shows us her new home, but she misses her old one. Still, she says her suffering is worth it for more people to have water.
Are you really being serious, or is that just the right thing to say to me?
As a Chinese citizen, we ought to all be like this, she says. We can survive anywhere. Back in Beijing, Ma Jun feels the project is a short-term emergency measure.
It will help to buy some time. I wouldn't call this a real final solution because the current volume of transfer will not be enough to even fill out the gap, the current gap.
The water supply for some cities, he fears, may someday run out. Seth Doan, CBS News, Beijing.
She said, don't you worry if I disappear. I told her I'm not really looking for another mistake. I called an old friend thinking that the trouble would wait, but then I jumped right in. A week later returned. I reckon she was only looking for a lover to burn, but I gave her my time for 2 or 3 nights. Then I put it on pause until the moment was right. I went away 4 months until our paths crossed again. She told me I was never looking for a friend. Maybe you could swing by my room around 10. Baby, bring the lemon and a bottle of gin. We'll be in between the sheets till the late AM. Baby, if you wanted me, then you should have just said she's singing. Don't win my love. That heart is so cold, all over my own. I don't wanna know that, babe. Don't win my love. I told her she knows. Take aim and reload. I don't wanna know that, babe. Couple weeks, I only wanna see her. We drink away the days with a takeaway pizza. Before a text message was the only way to reach her. Now she's staying at my place and loves the way I treat her. Singing out Aretha all over the track like a feature. And never wants to sleep, I guess that I don't want to either. But me and her, we make money the same way. 4 cities, 2 planes the same day. And those shows have never been what it's about. But maybe we'll go together and just figure it out. I'd rather put on a film with you and sit on the couch. But we should get on a plane or we'll be missing it now. Wish I'd have written it down, the way that things played out. When she was kissing him, how I was confused about. Now she should figure.
Well, indeed, this is the start of a fully sustainable city. This is Masdar City in Abu Dhabi. Masdar is the Arabic word for source. The project was started in 2006 and phase 1, 1 million square meters, will be completed by 2015. The plan is for the entire city to be powered by renewable energy, and the project will be finished in 2025 when it will be home to over 40,000 people. So I want to find out what they're doing and what they hope to achieve. Christopher, we're in an atmosphere now that most people in Northern Europe would think this is where solar panels would work because it's quite warm. You've got a lot of different types of solar panels and solar energy going on here. Can you sort of talk me through the basis of what we got? I mean, these here, I vaguely recognize.
Yeah, you might recognize some of these. I think most people would. This is called concentrated solar power. You take a parabola and focus the energy on a tube in the middle of the parabola. And this generates about 400 degrees Celsius.
So that's like a curved mirror, and
yes,
all the sunlight is bouncing off that onto one point.
Onto one point in the middle.
And that
exactly.
heats it up to 400 degrees.
All saved up in a thermal tank of oil usually,
Right.
which retains the thermal energy, and then you can apply that to the different purposes.
So then you could run a generator from it, for instance. Or
Absolutely.
That's something you could do.
Yeah. Right here on this side, we're actually making cooled water from thermal energy. Back here we have a big absorption chiller, which is a big refrigerator.
Yeah.
We take the heat to drive that cycle, and it cools water down, which is sent into the buildings behind us, and cools the offices.
Which is, now I'm here, I really appreciate going into a cool office.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then behind us here, this is another slightly different system.
Here we have another way to generate the heat. And there's cost benefits in each system, right? So you have a very high temperature, but a more costly system here. It's a lower cost system, easier to install. And this heats water directly by using vacuum panels. And the vacuum insulates, so you capture all the thermal energy. And you generate about 180 degrees Celsius water, which is kept under pressure, so you retain the heat. but then serves the same purpose by driving the refrigeration cycle. So these are two different ways we're trying to benchmark against each other to create cooling.
And I mean, do you envisage that at some stage you could, whichever system you decide on, could be upscaled to the scale that could cool the whole city? I mean,
this is actually, you're looking at the real purpose of Masdar. We have the research.
Lie down with me. If you fall asleep, it wouldn't be the worst thing. But when I wake up, your makeup's on my shoulder. And tell me if I lie down, would you stay now? Let me hold ya. Oh, but if I kiss you, will your mouth read this truth? Darling, how I miss you. Strawberries taste how lips do, and it's not complete yet. Mustn't get our feet wet, cause that leads to regret. Diving in too soon, and I'll owe it all to you. Oh, my little bird, my little bird. We take a walk out in the morning dew. We could lay down so I'm next to you, and come inside for a little homemade tea. And if you fall asleep, then at least you're next to me. And if I wake up, you say it's late, love, go back to sleep. I'm covered by nature, and I'm safe now underneath this oak tree with you beside me. But if I kiss you,
I think one of the things that makes FGCU different is our efforts to take these ideas of sustainability and thread them through everything. FGCU is built on a 760-acre site. Over 400 acres, over half of it, is in conservation areas.
It's one thing to learn about sustainability and being green in the classroom, but it's another amazing aspect to be able to walk out of that classroom door and have hands-on experience right there, right in your backyard.
It's really our responsibility as a future generation to make sure that we start implementing renewable resources and just researching and figuring out what we can do to help our communities.
I learned about how to work with the organizations in the community that want to work with FGCU in order to make Southwest Florida a more sustainable place to live, and that's really important to me.
So we have to be a participant in making the world a better place and making it more sustainable for a brighter future.
Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes. It is the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves.